Do you mind keeping that closed? Why yes, it's quite comfortable in here, but when it's open, there's a bit of a draft. Or, I wasn't aware I needed rescuing, but okay, I suppose you'll do. Yes, a beautiful girl you are. But be forewarned, for beauty fades or is stripped away depending on the beauty. But it always leaves, without so much as a goodbye or a farewell party. It's quite rude, actually. Maybe I'd grown quite fond of it. The iron bars, the pattern of squares, and... well, I guess that's it. But I do like squares. My name is Zora Fairchild, although it was never meant to be ironic. I was once very much a child and very much fair. So fair, in fact, that the divine saw it fit to punish me with the smart and enviable face. It's always easier to blame the gods for such things, isn't it? Now, don't make things awkward. I am more than comfortable with my own burnt skin. It is a burn after all. I've tried washing it off to no avail. But it hides the scars. That's a good thing. Now, I wasn't always comfortable with it, but living in a cage tends to alter your perspective. I was on my way north to the icy tundra. It's quite vast, quite icy, and extremely dull, which is precisely why I visit it. Some people look at a blank portrait and see only emptiness. I see an opportunity to paint. Imagine a vast field of pure white, soft as a pillow wrapped in a cloud. From a distance, you might think it's snow. Yet, when you come to the lip of its feathery shore and run your fingers through crowns of ivory, you'll know you have arrived in Whiterun. Home of Tamriel's most beautiful and profitable tundra cotton field, Zora's Field as it's known to the locals. I certainly hope so. It is called tundra cotton, otherwise they should have changed the name. Oh no, necromancers tend to disapprove of having their specimens damaged. I should know. This is the 11th necromancer who's enslaved me, and all 11 have been as delicate as a lord is with his finest furs. It makes me so sad to disappoint them so. I think this last one was quite excited with his find until he brushed back my hair. I've seen that look on more than enough men to recognize it. Oh, I am. I do enjoy it. There is never a shortage of wizards who like to use this pass as their lair, nor a shortage of heroes who travel through it. I will not suffer the embarrassment, my lord, but perhaps another will do so on my behalf. I have not given up hope, you see, that someday a dashing prince will look past this medley of scars to see the real me. Well, handsome but not cute, funny but not mean, tender but not soft, strong but not violent, caring but not servile. I could go on and on. I want a man who's aggressive but not impatient, creative but not obsessed, and most of all confident but not arrogant. The best I ever knew was 4 of those things, but he failed the arrogance test. He didn't just cross the border between confidence and arrogance. He rode through on a gilded carriage pulled by frenzied mammoths. Well, I was thinking, I haven't seen Gore around the Sleeping Giant Inn for some time. Maybe we ought to go look for him. Although I'm probably worried over nothing. Gore is almost as strong as my hero. He can take care of himself. It's not just for show. Although the necromancers seem to think so. Nobody takes me seriously. But when my weapon of choice was an amulet of Mara, then the boys were quite certain of my intentions. Even if that was just for show. It took some time to get the hang of it. My body did pay quite a price for my lessons. I have more scars than skin now, I'm afraid. Yet you'll find I'm a capable fighter, and if it's adventure you're seek, my lord, I am but your humble servant. The fury to your Holgeir, the Aidwir to your Barenzaya, the housegirl to your Jarl. So is my lord suggesting I become a jester? I think the surprise will be all theirs, and the laughter. If you enter from the north, there's a Solgen trap that hits you with a swath of old-fashioned destruction magic. It can give you a severe tickling if you aren't careful. I get more annoyed than hurt. Most come north to south, but there are those who come south from Riverwood. The necromancers lay a rune by the entrance to give them a warning. You can always tell the careful heroes from the impatient ones by the number of ice shards sticking out of their armor. All types, bandits, wizards, heroes and alchemists, oh, and skeletons. They used to be all four. You have my steel. Remember, a good leader is brave but not reckless, firm but not rigid. All right. Trouble or treasure? Or both? Ready to move? You go, I'll follow.
Look what the tide brought in. And is that the diamond of Riverwood behind you?
It's good to see you too, Gar. The sleeping giant is not the same without you there to wake it up.
Maybe. But I bet Orgnar enjoys the peace and quiet. Of course, with all three of us gone, I imagine that place ain't much different from a morgue. Wouldn't be much of a party without you, whether it's frying a horker or slaying a bandit. It's always better with company.
You in need of a companion, friend? Well,
everyone still asks
then
about
you're
you,
in
even
luck.
people from out of town.
All good things, I hope.
Of course. I thought this one Kashit wouldn't call you by name. He kept calling you... oh, I forget. It was something furry. Help me out, my hero. What is brown and furry and what's on all fours? I do as well. But it was not such a large animal. It was a type of dog, but I can't recall what. I'm right there.
I know back in the arena, I started out as a pit dog. But I haven't been one of those for ages.
That's it! He kept calling you a pit dog. Doesn't make much sense. If anything, you're a horker.
If I was a horker, I reckon that would make me a cannibal. But I wouldn't mind meeting this stranger and seeing if maybe a warhammer to the chest can't change his opinion. That it does. It tends to leave people at a loss for words. And I'm pretty sure I know why this little bird is chirping my name. You see, there's this underground arena I've been hearing about. The whole setup was a little fishy, so I told them no thanks. Maybe now they're trying to use that to their advantage. As if I'm too much of a soft gut to fight in their arena. Hey, that's one of them Mara amulets, ain't it? You looking for merit? At first, maybe. Just to bring in the crowds. But I ain't exactly what you call an entertaining fighter. Most of my fights end pretty quick, and I don't play to the crowd. The only thing I got is my name and my record. And all my time in the Imperial City, I ain't never lost a fight. So, if I lose in this arena, it'll give them something the folks in Cyrodiil ain't never seen. My death. The only question now is where to find these people, and wash my name out of their mouths.
Well, the person I talked to was headed towards Whiterun. I thought about following him as he was very suspicious. But then Yaramir came yelling up behind him asking if he wanted his robes washed.
Then we ought to head to the Bannered Mare. You should lead the way, lest my stomach take us to Lake Yogrim.
I got my start as a pit dog in the Imperial City Arena. Worked my way up to Gladiator before I got bored and quit. They say the best techniques are left by the survivors. With me gone, I guess everyone will have something to offer. Hey now, no need for that. I have my reasons, and they're as good as a bowl of Horker stew.
Well, that's a problem, friend, seeing as I'm following you for a reason. Rather not have to think about where I'm going, if that's okay with you. But, if you want my advice, I'm a this way or that way guy. I just flip a coin, or a bandit, and let it make heads or tails of the situation. What's wrong with the ones here? Not ugly enough for you? Well, friend, I was just about thinking the same. Jashar used to call it some funny word. We at first, even as we moved through the ranks. Damn right. And I don't ever see that changing.
It's all in the hips, friend. Killing a bandit is like making love to a maiden. It only takes a second, and there's no shortage of blood. Well, friend, I'm a warrior, not a gentleman. If you want one of those, talk to Sven. Although bringing him along might not be a bad idea. I've only heard the full chirp once, and I already want to kill myself. The Horkers, my friend. The Horkers. I can't get enough of a good bowl of Horker stew. Fresh garlic, tomatoes, a sprinkle of lavender. You keep talking like that, and we'll need to get you an apron, and a chef hat. Also Horkers. That isn't it. You see, I've tried stews of all different flavors, from all over Tamriel. I've tried your venizons and your steaks. I've tried your bug meat, your horror pies, and Taurus nuggets. Some wood elf charlatan even tried to sell me what he called a wyvern steak, but it tasted like mountain goat. I've tried every meat from the Somerset Isles to the shores of Solstein, and ain't nothing compared to a fresh pot of Horker stew. But you know what I haven't tried? I haven't tried a dragon. And call me crazy, but I think I saw one fly this way not long ago. Well, there's still the problem of the scales. We need to find a way in, unless you plan on using your teeth. Well, friend, it all comes down to who your opponent is. I'm square with killing men, but with a grand champion, ain't no more men to fight. So, they bring in beasts, minotaurs and things. I don't like it one bit. If a man chooses to enter the arena, it's what you call his prerogative. A beast ain't got no say in the matter. I kill Horkers for food and bears for hides. I don't kill no animal for sport. Why not? You need to get out more, friend. The arena is the most celebrated spectacle in all of Tamriel. To fight and die in the arena is a great honor. To fight and live, well, do that and you carve your name amongst the gods. Can't tell you much about that. I mean, I heard the whispers. Sometimes you see good fighters lose to pit dogs. Next day, they show up with swords so enchanted, they crapped mages when you swung them. There was one Khajiit fighter, the others called Jingle. Said every night he went home, win or lose, his pockets jingled with gold. But ain't no one ever approached me. They knew where I stood. I grew up watching the fights. I learned enough then to know glory was the best coin. You're mistaken. It couldn't have been higher. The people were hungry, not for blood, but for entertainment. The arena, friend, was a welcome diversion from the throes of war, because there's no death in the arena. Not to them. If you're a spectator, ain't nothing that happens in that pit real. It's all a game. 'Cause it's fair. It's about the only place you can truly measure a man's worth. If I ask the folks here who has the best mead in Skyrim, one person might say Blackbriar mead, another might vouch for Honning brew. If I asked for the best alchemist, bard or scribe, or which inn was warmest, and which wench the sweetest, there'd be many replies, but no answer. But if I asked you who was the strongest, who could best any man in the pit, there'd be no debate. You'd know by who was left standing. Only in the arena can a man be judged by his own merits. The words won't do it justice. Not mine, anyway. But you can imagine, can't you? That moment when you stand behind the gate in a cold sweat. The air's so thick you can taste the blood. The crowd is buzzing. The flies are buzzing. Then they wheel up the iron. You hear this roar, so loud it rumbles in your chest. You don't know who they cheer for, what they cheer for. Victory, glory, or death. But that's the beauty of the arena, ain't it? Nothing's ever written, nothing's ever known. The Grand Champion can win 100 matches and name a skeever as his next opponent, and the audience will still hold their breath. Unlike the stories, it's always a surprise when the hero wins, 'cause in the arena, the hero's allowed to fail. You ought to travel to Cyrodiil sometime, friend, and test your valor.
Come on in.
Be careful.
Let me know if you need
I
anything.
don't have to
or
take that
a seat
from
by
you.
The fire and I'll send
Hope
someone
you're
over.
willing to back those words up with your fists.
That's it? That's your best? Lucky hit. Enough? ends now!
Is it getting hot? Or... Huh?
There once was a hero named
Be careful.
Red who came riding to Whiterun from old Rorikstead. And the braggart did swagger and brandish his blade as he told of both battles and gold he had made.
Hello there, stranger. What can Jashar do for you?
When he met the shield maiden Matilda, who said, "Oh, you talk and you lie and you drink all our mead. Now I think it's high time that you
Yes.
lie down and bleed." And so then came clashing and slashing
Hey,
of steel
how
as the
that's
brave
one of
lass
them
Matilda
Mara
charged in full of
amulets, ain't
zeal.
Be careful.
You looking for marriage?
And the braggart named Ragnar was boastful no more when his ugly red head rolled around on the floor.
Jashar, don't tell me you're the fiend who's been spreading these lies.
Good. So you are in Skyrim after all. Jashar would ask you to sit down, but there is not enough room for one of your size. Not to mention, it would be rude to your lady friend.
You didn't answer my question, Furball. What's all this business about me being a pit dog, hmm?
You misunderstand, Jashar. It is a term of endearment. We started out as pit dogs, and it is a reminder of how
Typical Michael. Same old songs as always.
I never did understand half of what you were saying. Leave it to me to overreact. What brings you to Skyrim? I'm going to take a wild guess and say it ain't the Horkers.
Heroes
Is
on
that
the
why
field
you're here?
of this new
By the
order
moons,
wage.
you never change. Jashar
the
assumed
crowd
you were here
doing
for the same
wins,
reason as he.
Man is gone
For
from
this
this
new
world,
underground arena.
lost in the shadow.
Don't tell me you left the Imperial City to fight in some basement.
Came
There won't be half the coin or glory fighting in this arena, friend.
steadfast as winter.
It is not Jashar's choice. He ran into much trouble with the Blade Master. There were accusations of gambling, bribery, and throwing fights.
Song of
You know Jashar to be a cat of integrity, but this Blade Master had an agenda. In any case,
so
this
the
new
tongues freed
arena,
us.
they are willing to pass
mouths
Jashar's previous transgressions.
Gift of the
It is
voice
fledgling,
ushered
but
in
as
a
promised,
new
it
age.
just needs more fighters like yourself to join the ranks.
Haldwin's eternal.
Sorry, old friend. My arena days are over. And from the sound of it, this ain't much of an arena so much as it is a pit fight. Besides, I don't like it. Something seems fishy about the whole deal. That may work for you, given you know all the angles. But not me.
If I ever see that guy, he's in so
That
much
is
trouble.
unfortunate. But Jashar knows better than to argue with you. Perhaps, though, you will do him a favor and watch his first match. Jashar is a stranger in these lands, and he will be more comfortable if he knows he is amongst friends.
I, for one, would love to come. An underground arena match? That sounds exciting, my heroes.
Well, I suppose there ain't no harm in just watching. Besides, it's been a long time since I've seen an arena match that didn't end in one swing.
Yeah, Jashar always did like to take his time. That is why he is a crowd favorite. So, if it pleases you, he will mark the location of his next fight on the map. It changes from week to week, you see. They say the fights are held in cages, in barracks, on islands, and in cellars. As crowds are thin, it is dependent on a handful of sponsors. Soon, as the coin flows and the crowds grow, there will be enough to build an arena to rival Cyrodiil's. But for Jashar, this will have to do.
Then it's settled. The three of us will come to cheer you on. I'm sorry, my hero, but you have someone with you. And out on the road it can get quite crowded. For the right reasons.
Don't sell yourself short, Princess. I'd imagine you'd make it to at least a Myrmidon. And even then, it'd probably be the bribes.
You've made it. Wonderful. Jashar will have at least 3 voices to rally him when he is struggling.
Well, that depends
This
on what
way.
they are bribing me with. A beautiful dress might be worth losing an arm for. I will try to be as loud as 10 men. I suspect Gar will have little trouble doing the same.
Just make sure you give us something to cheer about, friend. What's all this about, friend? I don't like where those arrows are pointed.
Jashar is sorry. This was the only way. But in the end, you will all thank him.
Lost your mind.
Ah, but Jashar knows all the angles. He knows that an innocent pat on the back can carry with it a needle of poison. In fact, it should be taking effect right about now. The archers, they are only here to buy it more time. You're up. Good. Jashar was worried the poison might have been too much, considering it was made for that mammoth of a Redguard. And Jashar is pleased to see your sense of humor remains. He will let you out of the cage in a moment. It was never Jashar's intent to take you three forcefully. Had our friend simply agreed to join the fights, there would be no need for force of any kind. The Redguard does not understand the amount of coin he leaves on the table. Jashar is merely looking out for all your best interests. In his prime, our friend was a great arena fighter. Few can last so long without playing the politics. If not for his strange affinity for lesser creatures, he would have been Grand Champion. Of course, the bigger the title, the more adept one must be in This is when Jashar's hard work pays off. Jashar has spent many moons putting up and the drinker of milk. Even if it were today, will seem like a flaw against his opponent. Yes. Not so tough, are you? This light goes that much. Give me it. And here is your share. 500 septims. However, your friend and the girl are committed to at least one more fight. Bowing out now will cost us all that, and more.
Zora, what have you done with her?
Nothing. It was a poor choice of words. The girl is not a prisoner, no more than you. She has her own fight, but Jashar could not risk the three of you strong-arming your way out of here. He has debts to pay.
If she's lost a hair on her head, you hear me? One hair, and God's as my witness, will shove your tail so far down your mouth, you'll have two on the other end.
Do not worry. Jashar would not cross you, nor does he want to be called Two-Tails. In fact, as a measure of good faith, your companion and I are fighting together. And, as fortune would have it, our opponents are favored 3-1. Would you like to place a wager on yourself? You can bet up to 500 gold. That comes to a return of 1,200 septims. It would be foolish not to, unless you plan on leaving your gold to your kin. After all, the pit is no place for thieves. The wishes of the dead are respected here. Did Jashar say 1,200? His mistake. Jashar is uneducated and very poor at arithmetic. Excellent. Both you and Jashar will be much wealthier by night's end.
Jashar? It looks like your match has gotten pushed back. Your dance partner got a case of the brain rot and fled.
How unfortunate. What does this mean for Jashar's bets?
You've got Nocturnal's luck, Cat. Different pair, but the same odds. The crowd doesn't think much of your chances. In fact, not a single patron has come to complain. Seems like they weren't betting on them so much as they're betting against you.
Alas, Jashar's reputation precedes himself. It will likely be another hour or so before the fight begins. Do not worry. This is all going according to plan. Jashar suggests the two of you grab a drink and mingle. When the others arrive, the fair lady will let you know.
Sorry I dragged you and Zora into this, friend. Jashar's the type who thinks he's doing what's best for everyone, when it's really only good for him. That's why it's best you do the thinking. I was gonna suggest we kill every last one of them, and figure it out from there. Funny thing is, Zora would probably be safer doing it Jashar's way than mine.
So, you're one of Jashar's friends? Or should I say, friend, seeing as you'd be the first. They call me the Fair Lady. What can I do for you? I'm sorry, but there ain't enough coin in your pocket to make me answer that. I do more than handle them. I set the odds. Now, you might be thinking, what's this old hag know about fighters? Not a sodding thing. But it ain't my job to pick the winners. It's to set the odds. And to do that, you have to know the betters. Not the overgrown oafs they're betting on. Every fight's got their bride and their groom. If I set the odds right, then you've got an equal number of folks on both sides of the aisle. You got too many on one side, you change the odds so the rest of the patrons sit on the other. That's the only way to guarantee we come out ahead. It doesn't matter which fighter wins, because we get a piece of every winning bet. It would be just like him to bet against himself. But he did put it on the both of you to win. Same as any chambermaid, tavern wench or jarl. You grow up in it. My dad was a gambler. He liked to bet on wolves, not men. Different animals, same rules. Some win, some lose. Fair's fair. Fair's fair. We don't take a cut from the fighters. It don't make much sense, seeing as the two of you can wager against each other. Of course you might not get the same odds. That's why we handle the wagers. Fair's fair. Because I handle the gold. When you win, I pay. And when you lose, I don't. Fair's fair. You're a decent lass to say so, but you'll have more luck working the fans. I'm too old to play anyone's fury. 50 gold ought to do it. Don't look so surprised now. Information costs money. Fair's fair. A pleasure doing business, stranger. As for what I know, your previous opponents were a tough drawer. At least, I could tell as much by the way Jashar's ears cringed. This new pair, though, nobody knows what to make of them. Two foreigners from Hammerfell. You know, the ones that got them funny swords and even funnier robes. If nothing else, it'll make for a good show. That's right. It's the best way to operate outside the law. You stay in one place, and one day even a drunken lout will stumble upon it. The Jarl's men ain't much smarter than that, but that makes them smart enough. That's why we rarely use this place. Oh, save for special matches, like with your friend there. Most days I'm working in some dirty cellar, sitting on a stool with more splinters than hairs on me head. But I'll take a few needles in the rear if it keeps us out of trouble. Fair's fair. Then you're in luck. It looks like our friends from Hammerfell have arrived. Last call for bets. 3-1 for Jashar and the New Blood. 2-7 for the warriors from Hammerfell.
Those two have no idea what they're in for. Be waiting for you at the victory table, friend.
Do not worry. Jashar has crossed blades with this type many times. Fortune smiles upon us both.
Why are you looking at me?
There is no announcer here. The battle begins when the weapons are drawn.
Let's see if you can fight, Redguard.
So, you live to see another day, cat?
It was a lucky win for Jashar. His partner did all of the work. Here is your share. A handsome sum, and well deserved. You and Jashar make for an excellent team. This could be the beginning of a very profitable relationship. Unfortunately, Jashar still has business here, but you will find your friend to the north, at the peak of the Sky Temple ruins. Trust Jashar when he tells you. She is safe.
This ain't over, Cat. Seems to me there's only one of two outcomes. Either Zora's safe, and I beat you bloody, or she ain't, and I beat you dead.
Jashar still hopes you will choose a third option, but he understands. He will take his beating when you return.
Damn. As much as I hate to admit it, that pot of Khajiit's stew will have to wait. Let's go to those ruins and see if we can't even the odds. Then we got the same feeling, and it ain't gonna go away until we get to those ruins. I know the little diamond can take care of herself, but that don't make it any easier to be here when she's there. So come on. Hopefully, we can make it back here in time for dinner.
May you walk on warm sands.
You've brought with you. A girl shouldn't have to share.
Don't worry, Princess. The cavalry's here.
My hero, Gore! I knew the two of you would come.
Come on, he's not so tough. Get him! Here we go!
Let's see if you can fight, Redguard.
We're routed! Fall back!
You can do it.
We have done that without you.
All right. We got here as soon as we could.
No, he was in great peril. But then, two legendary heroes swooped in and saved me. I am truly a lucky girl. It would have been so much more disappointing to be the girl who saves herself.
And here I was, feeling guilty for taking more kills. I don't think I'll ever understand what it says.
You wouldn't be the best.
I guess it don't make much difference now. But how did you get here?
Well, I remember waking up in a sack and hearing your Khajiit friend arguing with someone over price. The other person asked how fresh the corpse was, and he said very fresh. Too fresh, apparently, seeing as I was still alive. Then I went back to sleep. The next time I woke up, I was on a table over there, much to the surprise of everyone. Oh, I am happy to see you as well, my hero. Yor is a fine friend, but sometimes I wonder if he's just a giant stomach wrapped in skin. And I say that with love, but it really is hard to have a conversation when half the topics are about food. And by the way, it is so typical of you to forget this Khajiit cannot be trusted. It must be because of the fur. I confused him with a kitten.
Usually I don't have to remember. I just kill the people who cross me. But Yashar and I never were on opposite ends of the battle. In the pit or outside of it. It being Kesmet and all.
Do you say I'm hard to understand?
So, what's our next move? Like I said, unless we kill this cat soon, I'll probably end up forgetting the whole thing. We need to boil this son of a Daedrith while my blood's still simmering. But it's not like he'll be waiting for us at the pits. True. From what I gather, her information can be bought, but so can her silence. All it takes is a fair price. And that ain't something Jashar would ever pay. Let's gather up some coin and find out what she knows.
Well, the information I've got may not be worth a wooden septim. But that doesn't mean I'll sell it for less than 200 gold ones.
It wasn't much of an arena. More like a cellar with more blood than wine.
True. Having him out of the way would make my life easier.
Hate wine.
On the other hand,
I
so would
guess
200
it wasn't so
septims.
bad.
Fine. Well, the information I've got may not be worth a wood. Well, aren't you the cute one? 200 septims. Fine.
Didn't expect to see you two back here. Or is it 3 now? Ah yes, the cat. Everybody wants to know where the cat is. But not everybody is willing to pay the toll. Of course, as much as I despise the cat, I ain't the sort to go squealing on a pitmate. At least, not for anything less than 1,000 gold. You're better off asking the lady. She'll give you a fair deal.
Well, the information I've got may not be worth a wooden Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? All right, I'll tell you what I know. Fair's fair. There was a name written on the back of one of his betting slips. Now, I don't know if he let me see it on purpose, but it's all I know. The name was Orotheim. Some cave over in Yarmarch. I'd look for him there.
I know that cave. It's just north of Zora's Field. I should have figured it would be close by.
Then what are we still standing here for? Let's go.
Hear something?
I guess that's that. Faced Jashar in the arena, and the poor sod was no different than the rest. It's like waiting all day to eat a bowl of Horker stew, and tasting chicken on your tongue instead.
Food, food, food. It is always about food with you, isn't it? We were friends once, right? Say something nice.
You mean like a speech or something? I ain't so good at that. But I guess now that he's dead, there ain't no point being raw. Jashar, you and me didn't always see eye to eye. I mean, you weren't all bad.
What was that?
But just enough where I couldn't let it slide. Rest easy.
No, that wasn't so hard, was it?
Harder than killing him, that's for sure. Well, that's the end of it. One less double-crossing, scheming pit dog in the world. Now it's time to find something to eat. Zora's right. Ain't much I like to do, other than killing folks and eating Horkers. Since we got one out of the way, all I can think about is the other. And good riddance to bad memories. Like I said, unless it has to do with Horkers, I ain't so good at keeping track at who's done what. There's a lot I remember about the arena, like the crowd, the sweat, and the blood. But I'd pretty much forgotten everything else. With Jashar dead, maybe the arena will finally forget about me. That's the way I like it. Living outside the pit. We're free to go whichever way the bandit blows. I'm just glad to have you along for the ride.
Hey, I picked up some arrows. You can have a look later if you wish.
You in need of a companion, friend? I reckon I've killed more men.
Good to see you, friend.